a really, really late night special. I don't want to talk. I don't want to call it pillow talk. I don't want to call it, something that we shouldn't be doing. It's a really late one, Reds, and I'm glad. I'm glad that you're here. My name's Charlie. I'm your host. I'm joined by the wonderful Dan, the wonderful Mahmood, who are in better and nicer climates than me. It's sweltering here, people. It is sweltering here in the UK, and it's purely because Florian Wirtz is flying in, signing on. He's coming in over to Liverpool supposedly. We're going to talk about it really, really, really briefly. To get a bit of reaction now, we've kind of let the dust settle, try to understand what is actually happening here with Florian Wirtz and whether it's actually happening and who's talking what and the caliber of the people, because there's a lot of talk in social media about this particular player, but we're going to bring it. We're gonna talk real talk. I've had a few, so we'll kind of just put it out there. I've been out with a friend and enjoying playing pool, talking about whatever, but I'm here for the cause. Dan, are you here for the cause? Are you here loving life as a Liverpool fan? The greatest weekend of your Liverpool footballing supporting career is coming up, and does this make it even better?
Oh, absolutely. I was thinking in the past 24 hours, Slot came out and slagged off Trent, slagged off Arteta, and then
Yeah.
they're signing Verts. Like, I mean, what? Like, it's the greatest time to be alive. He just kicked them all out, and he's like, you know what? I'm also gonna do. I'm gonna sign the best number 10 in the world at the moment, someone that I was ridiculing 8 months ago, 12 months ago, as like, why would we sign Verts in any way, shape, or form? So I have to come out and agree that I never saw this happening in a million years. Not because he's not a good player or he's not worth it, but
There's
that
something about
it.
it, Dan, that I need to let people know. There's a bit of a name that I've been calling Dan, bit of a buzzkill, because as positive as I would love to be about transfers, Dan is like the equilibrium of the reasonableness of football knowledge, and brings me down a level. I may get a little bit too excited when it comes to transfers, and Dan is always there. He's not James Pierce level, um, you know, downing of tools, but he brings me back to earth. Is that right, Dan? Is that a fair assessment of your capabilities and abilities to piss on my chips?
I think it's looking at a prism from the wrong angle. I'm not trying to bring anyone down. I'm just saying my head is that I always see the way we're linked, and I'm like, what makes sense, what seems realistic, and what doesn't. I am one of the most positive people. Like right now, Verts, everything looks like, as you mentioned, Charlie, the dust is settled. Ornstein's dropped, Joyce has dropped, everyone's dropped. Piercy hasn't dropped anything, so I think James is still looking for his contacts over at Liverpool next with
His
David
Twitter
Lynch.
finger's not working. That's what it
That's true.
is.
That's true.
I
That's
use
true.
again another thing that we're going to be talking about. So when it comes to James Pierce, I use a particular GIF, a Ren and Stimpy GIF, where he's working on his finger because he's going to be preparing a finger to press the button on Twitter to just wind up the whole LFC fan base, and he hasn't done that yet, and that's obviously good news.
Yeah, it is. And it seems right now, I think that it's not a coincidence that at this time period, Charlie and Mahmoud, that what we've seen is that we've seen Harvey Elliott come out and say he doesn't know about his future. Some of the players coming out and talking about their futures. Obviously, Trent now is off to Madrid, and real quick turnaround from Prong's coming in, and Verts looks like it's coming in too. So it seems like a lot of things are moving very, very quickly. Most of the reason why I'm realistic in my let's put it this way. The reason why I maybe look as a party pooper is that I know what Liverpool have done before in the past, and this is where I think they may act in the
Yeah.
future. That's why I didn't see Verts happening, because it didn't strike me as that they could pull this off so quickly. I know we had the Caicedo money somewhere. John Henry just didn't buy another yacht. Well, he probably did,
Yeah,
but his third yacht. He needs a fourth one at this point. So
exactly.
at this point, Charlie, I'm all in on the hype. Like, it's
Hmm.
happening at this point. I think it's just about nailed on. We're a here we go away. And again, just so you know, personal terms already agreed. They're working on the deal. This isn't a Caicedo situation. When this gets approved, he's going to be through the door. The next question
Yeah.
is what happens after that, which we can get into.
We will come to that. We will come to that. Let's kind of just bring in a few things. So first of all, let me just bring Matty on. Matty, absolutely really delighted that you're here. So Matty is one of the founding fathers of this channel. He should be here, should be talking to us. We will try to get him on the channel. We spoke to him when we won the league. I remember bringing him on. He had a really, really long time of it. So Matty, I'm really glad that you're here talking to us. And then Jay Muse, I'm so happy that you're here. It's been such a long time, Jay. I am glad that you're here. Hello, stranger. Yes, it has been a long time. We are going to be coming back with a new improved LFC transfer room channel. But Mahmood, how's it on your side of the fence? With the Caicedo thing that we've had in the past where we've reacted quite late, but what's actually happening here? The window hasn't even opened, and the caliber of transfers that we're getting in, it's a special time to be a Liverpool fan. And how are you feeling?
You know what? First of all, Charlie, I love your soothing voice. It just gets me excited, man. I
Oh,
have so much to yap about. All right, so you all right, lad? So we're getting Frimpong in, the Dutch connection, but we're also getting his teammate, bro, Florian Wirtz, the man from Germany. Imagine just, being surrounded by so much talent. Bayer Leverkusen, coached by Xabi Alonso, being coached by Hansi Flick, and being a what do you call it, the Germany national team, being called a technical magician, and all of that Liverpool's pulling. But what I also want to say is, according to a couple reports, is that they were working on both deals, both Frimpong and Ritz, at the same time. Liverpool's having motion right now. Liverpool has motion, so that
and I
is
think that's the
really
thing, isn't
wonderful.
it? Because it's been a long time since we've had, we reworked midfield, but with how things have been going, and we've had the most spectacular seasons. What we've actually achieved, and people have been very dismissive of Richard Hughes and certain particular Richard Hughes. But what he's actually done over the last kind of 8 months or 12 months, if you want to call it like the full year itself, there, Dan, is he's been able to first of all get Mamadashvili signed and sealed, really sorted for the opening. He's sorted out Virgil van Dijk. He has sorted out Salah. The two best players at the club. The Trent situation, and we've seen Slot as kind of given a gift to Xabi Alonso in essentially calling Trent a lazy rat. So if that's the case, then we will go with that. And then we're coming here and seeing fullback after fullback coming in, and now Florian Wirtz, and and I feel it's not actually the end of this transfer window. It's going to be going on in this first part. It seems like it's going to be just like by Mahmood. Liverpool are in motion. Richard Hughes is in motion. Michael Edwards is in motion. How are you feeling about the progress that we've made, certainly over the last 3
Like
months, 4 months?
this is not normal motion. Like
No.
imagine competing with big. Okay, we're a big club already. Okay, but people have thought of us as the underdogs or like undermined us a lot for for their own hater reasons. But Mo Salah stated it in a quote: "This is a big club. We should be expected to win trophies, compete for players, and we're just a club rich with history." People being haters is just a professional job for them. Hating on Liverpool, that's just the norm because we keep on winning, winning, winning. And with Florian Ritz coming and choosing us over Bayern or Man City, and then Real Madrid rumoring they want to get in on this deal like every fucking deal. Excuse my shit. So you know what? Again, we got that motion, man. And it's like you're saying, Charlie's just getting started. Boom, boom, bam, and then we're
I
gonna
think
get
I'm going to
these
get
two.
started here, mate. The way that you're talking, it's brilliant.
That's
Yeah,
okay,
listen.
man.
No, Mahmoud, I agree with you, man. Like, I think we've forgotten, or people, a lot, the hater talk like you mentioned. There's so much conjecture in online spaces about Liverpool's status, and the truth is that they don't know a Scooby about what they're talking about. If you follow Liverpool like we've had for years at this point, I know me and Charlie had a good row about Christian Benteke way back when. My GOAT 10 years ago when we bought him. That was one of my first summers I was
It's on
following
camera
it.
now.
Hey, listen, I don't care. I will stand up. I put my hands up. I admit my past flirtations with players that did not work out, sadly. Listen, when Liverpool move, they move quick. And that's the one thing people forget is I think the good example is Dominic Soboslai's news, not nudes, but news 2 years ago. It came out on a Tuesday where it was unlikely, and then it was wrapped up by Thursday, Friday. I think it was the first time I ever did with LSU Transfer Room. And I was doing it with Damo at the time and some others who you can go back and watch it. And the Mamardashvili, this is when I have big egg on my face here, is that I was actually hosting a stream and I said, there's no way we're signing Georgi Mamardashvili. And we signed Georgi Mamardashvili. And I'm like, well, apparently it has happened that every time I say nothing's going to happen, it happens. So I'm just going to keep saying nothing's going to happen and just keep this positive energy coming out of my negativity to keep going on. I will bear that cross. I will bear that burden so that we sign more and more players. But Mahmoud, you're absolutely right. It's the news is moving very quickly at this point.
Someone's got to
Once
do it,
Wirtz,
haven't they, Dan?
yeah, exactly.
Dan,
Once Wirtz is gone, I mean, Kirkez, maybe, who knows?
Dan, you're not a buzzkill. You're a beautiful person. I love you. But you know what? You gotta dream,
James
man.
Pierce.
You gotta let your vision, leave the earth and go to space. That's what I'm gonna say. And stop being a realist in terms of the transfers. Cause look at what's happening, bro. We're just getting started, like Charlie was saying, bro. The transfer window didn't even open. So we're just getting started, man. And yeah. And one more thing I just want to comment on, Jay Muse. He was saying, how is Wirtz going to play? I think he's going to fill in that Bobby role. He's going to be feeding Salah. He's going to be feeding Diaz if he stays.
Yeah. That is an interesting one, isn't it? Because again, one of the things that Dan and I have discussed heatedly is the formation and the position. I said pretty early on I would love to see, and it's not the typical number 9 position that we would expect. It's more kind of dropping deeper, which would then allow. This is the way I see it. If we do get Florian Wirtz coming into the team, what I would expect is that Florian will move into that central 9, but more of a that Bobby-esque type position, and essentially allow Cody Gakpo, Luis Diaz, whoever it is that's playing on the left, and the wonderful Egyptian king Mo Salah to do what he does best, and that's to kind of get goals to set up. It may be a case that it may not work in the sense of the typical Bobby scenarios that we saw previously for years and years, but it's a way forward. But Dan, the floor is yours. Where would you like Florian Wirtz to be playing?
In your to clarify, Troy, the reason why we got such interesting conversations is because Carter kept complaining for months and months that he just wants to do a Brighton 2.0, and I'm like, Carter, stop trying to recreate Brighton finishing 9th or 10th or 5th. I think it depends on two factors.
Can I just jump in really quickly?
Go ahead, Charlie.
I think Slot has seen PSG. I think he's seen PSG firsthand, and what he's seen in that team is the prototype. If it's the mechanism, the formation, the structure that he wants to adopt going forward, and I think that's actually what's going to happen, because PSG do not play with a traditional number 9. What he has there, Luis Enrique, should I be saying, is a very, very fluid front 6, or a competitive 6 players that essentially interchangeable within their areas. And I think that's what's going to happen with Liverpool. That's how I see it.
I absolutely agree. I think you're absolutely right with that. I think the fact that you're bringing in a Frimpong who plays very similar to Ashraf Hakimi than Trent ever did, much more athletic. Obviously, with having very similar profiles in Frimpong and Bradley. Obviously, Frimpong is 2 years older. He's a bit more established. Has less injury history and is a better player right now than Connor Bradley is. And if you bring in Kirkez, you're getting the same thing with Mendez on the left. And even though I would have loved Havertz, the fact we haven't got Havertz, we have
Yeah.
Diaz and Gakpo is still pretty good. I don't know where Wirtz plays, if I'm being perfectly honest, because it depends on who is staying. If Diaz goes, I could see him playing on the left and essentially playing some mix of a Jota, Dom, Salah.
4-2-4.
Yes, very
I could see
4-2-4.
A very 4-2-4. If you look at the formation that we played against Man City this season, with no central striker and essentially Dominic Szoboszlai and Curtis Jones being that kind of double pivot up top, I think that's the way that we will start looking to play going forward.
I absolutely agree. I think they will do that if there's no forward that they like at a price that they like, or if Jota doesn't get his move, or Nunez doesn't move, or whoever doesn't move. I think slot is. This is the thing about the Wirtz transfer that's very
Jonathan
interesting.
David is free.
Hey, listen, he is free. Jonathan David is he is a less good version of Diego Jota, because Jota's at least decent in the air, or was historically. And this season he's been very not good. Similar with Darwin, I think is the charitable way to say it. I will say though, with Wirtz is someone that you can essentially do anything. He's very similar to a player that Arsenal have in Kai Havertz. There's a big difference though. Leverkusen sold Havertz. No, Mahmoud, you have to listen. You have to wait.
Yeah. I'm kind of agreeing.
Leverkusen sold Havertz.
No, I'm just saying,
Chelsea.
Don't compare, please. Just don't get Havertz.
No. Let's. Let me point. Leverkusen sold Havertz because they had Wirtz. So they're very similar in the sense that they are very technically solid, gifted players that play in that front four. They're part of the German academy that made very positionalist forwards. But Wirtz is the best version of that now. Havertz is someone we've seen be hit and miss. He doesn't really have a position. Wirtz is a very clear defined position, either as Charlie mentioned, and I agree with you, Charlie, as a 10, as a false 9, or as a left wing or right wing. He can do all of those. He is not a double pivot midfielder like Havertz has been at times for Arsenal. I just wanted to get that point in. But they're very similar in that very positionalist forward position is what I was trying to get to. Similar to Musiala's, I would say. Him and Jamal Musiala are probably the two best close comparisons of that final evolution of what Havertz came through, and all these other younger German players and prospects that came to the system, like Julian Draxler and others back in the day.
I would say if Havertz was at Liverpool right now, or would transfer to Liverpool at this point in this summer, I think we would see the best version of him. I don't think he is utilised the best. And I think, unfortunately, because of his injury, it caused Arsenal to falter. But if he was fit, who knows what would have occurred for Arsenal this season? They probably would have been close, but not close enough. That's just because of the Arteta ball that they play. But Mahmoud, me and Dad will be kind of just taking over the chat here. But what are your thoughts? Where do you think Wirtz will play or should play if he does come to Liverpool, when he comes to Liverpool?
No, thank you for that. And in terms of I just want to get one point out. In terms of Kai Havertz, I don't know if his main position was actually striker or not, because that's where Arteta kept playing him as
he was
striker.
Bought as a midfielder. He was bought as a midfielder, and it just worked out that he
exactly.
pushed him up top.
Same with Mikel Merino. This guy doesn't play striker, bro. He put him as striker he scored couple goals, but anyways, that's not the topic now. In terms of Wirtz, Florian, where is he going to play? If you're suggesting the 4-2-4, playing as a striker and then dropping in deep so they can establish, I don't know, 3 at the front or whatever, that could be good. But let's hope Slot, I don't know, because we've seen Slot put Diaz up top as striker. So do you think he's going to maybe put Florian up top as striker, and then we don't get the best out of him? Or is he going to play a false 9 and then provide for the wingers? Or what exactly? Because we have Dom. So, is Dom, what is the structure really going to be like?
Yeah, so I think it's really interesting that the position that Dom played on the weekend, a little bit deeper, more of a traditional 8, and it seemed he was more comfortable in that position. And I think that'll be the position going forward for Dom in a slot 2.0 team, as Jay Muse has said. I personally think that's going to be the way forward, and I think you will see a better version of Dominic Szoboszlai, because he's playing deeper. It's the number on the back of his shirt, and it's better for him to be making deeper runs and working with Wirtz, working with Mo Salah. You know, that ball that he played to Salah for the first goal the other day was just beautiful, and we've seen better versions of him when he's played deeper. Now, one thing I just wanted to bring up was, and I'm just trying to find it, was on our Twitter, the reasons why Wirtz has potentially moving over to Liverpool, and I think the one thing was the conversation that Wirtz has had with Slot, but then also the conversation that he's had with company. And I think that's really, really important. You can forget about the training ground, because I think that's just a training ground's the training ground. It may be a new version that we have compared to what Bayern Munich have, but the conversation that the managers have had. Now, supposedly, what we've heard is Wirtz wasn't convinced when he spoke with Vincent Kompany, the vision that he had, and the lack of clarity. And I think it's really, really important that if you're making that big move to another club, you know, going from Bayer Leverkusen to that next career move, you need to have the clarity. And I think that's the main thing there, Dan. I'll come to you about this one. How important is it that Wirtz is trusted or trusting the manager for the next 5, maybe 10 years of his career?
Oh, 100%. I mean, he's 22. This is his first big move from Leverkusen, and company has a lot of problems with Bayern right now. Like, the Bayern team itself has a lot of issues, and with Musiala in there, with Olise, Leroy Sané is leaving, and they have Kane. There's
Coleman
not a clear.
too, bro.
Yeah, exactly. And Kingsley Coleman's still there? He's still there, Mahmoud? I swear. I swear, Kingsley Coleman he always just shows up somewhere and wins not a Champions League. He wins a title and then goes to another team. I think having that clear vision is very simpler for Wirtz, because he values the career move and his evolution as a player than the money. And Bayern are just, I think Bayern's arrogance also put him off. And I think that was mentioned as well by Florian Plettenberg, as well as Christian Falk, and some other YTKs within the Bayern Munich setup. I think that's what interests me, Charlie, because if Slot has an idea, my next question is, are we going to sign a striker? Because I don't know. And I agree with you on the false nine thing, and I think he does want to do the PSG thing, but then I'm thinking in my head, then does he want to keep a Jota or keep a Diaz to play as like the quote-unquote striker, or does he want to buy one? I know before Mahmoud brought Gyökeres as well. I don't really care. Isak's obviously the best one. Then obviously your next was already tweeted out, so we'll see what happens on Sunday with Champions League places. But yeah, I think it's a very clear vision for Wirtz. I'm just curious if that vision includes another striker. What do you think?
I agree. I think it's the type of money that you would be spending on Wirtz doesn't point to me that we would be buying a big name striker in the sense of Alvarez, Isak, or Gyökeres. I don't think that just kind of happens this season. It may be something that happens next season. But what you're buying into now, and we've heard this word before, opportunistic, and I'm going to say that after having a few beers tonight. I'm really pleased that I actually got that out. But I think the opportunity came up where we saw a fantastic player, a generational player in Wirtz coming in and have taken that. We probably would still go ahead and try to sign the best striker that we can get. If the Wirtz situation scenario didn't come around, but because that's come around, okay, we can then readjust and start looking at other areas. I still think that centre back is going to be a position that we would look at. The goalkeeper's sorted. The fullback seems like they're sorted. There's potentially a move for a new central midfielder coming in, but the majority of the work that you get with Wirtz is actually it works in a couple of areas, doesn't it, Dan, Mahmoud? You're talking about the attack, the number 10. It works in terms of the number 9 as well. So there's lots of positives in regards to what we're trying to achieve by bringing them in. Wirtz, Mahmoud, do you think we will sign another striker or a striker if Nunes goes, or do you keep Nunes? Do you look at? I've mentioned the name before, Jonathan David. He's free. He is a good, capable player. Something that he probably will know his place if he's coming into Liverpool. He won't be a certain starter, but something that could work.
Well, first, before I start saying anything, I forgot to say this. It's like, let's take a moment and laugh at Man United for losing the Europa League final. And then, sorry, I had to get that out. Secondly, I think we're going to sell Nunez and then possibly sell Luis Diaz. And then if we do manage to sell both, we're going to have money to sign a big name striker. But now Liverpool's strategy is going for the younger strikers. Younger players per se. As we've seen, Frimpong is 26, and then Florian Wirtz is like 23. Oh, 24. Okay. It's okay. 2 years difference. No, I'm joking. But Florian Wirtz is 22, and then they're aiming for that youth development on a long term, and I feel like that's been part of like why John Henry's spending big money now. He's like, oh yeah, slot one on the first season, we're gonna invest, we're gonna win again, blah blah blah, more money in my pockets, whatever. Maybe that's the whole ideology, but
the money's
I don't
always
think
been there though. That's the thing. That's the thing that we probably do need to kind of say. The money's always been there. It's how we move as a club.
And one more thing, I remember sometimes during like Klopp's era and stuff like that, I remember like seeing tweets about Klopp wanting signings or disagreeing on certain signings or stuff like that. So hopefully that's sorted out of the way with Slot here. And but sorry, I've been talking a lot. But back to the original question: do I see ourselves signing another striker? To be honest, only if we sell Jota or Nunez. I like Jota. Yes, he's injury prone.
I think it's happening. Yeah, I think the talk that we're getting is, certainly something's happening with Atletico. Who knows what's going to happen there? It's just
but
like
we're not getting Isak. We're not getting.
Oh
Isak,
no, we're not getting Isak. I don't
unless Newcastle don't qualify and they have to sell for FFP or PSR reasons. I think he'll push for
Champions League football. Suddenly, such a massive precursor to what actually happens for the rest of the summer.
And that's why I don't think we've heard any news about any other forwards, is because we don't know what Isak's situation is going to be. And again, I know we bring up Indy because he's funny to make fun of. He somehow joked his way into having real sources, which is hilarious and also really sad for our time. I listen. I don't know who you would prefer, Charlie. I know you mentioned Jonathan David. I like Jonathan David a lot as a player. I think he's good as a free option. I know Mahmoud, again, Georgiez was the one you were looking at. I am honestly, it could be anybody. I think it's all price. I don't think it's Hugo Ekitike because of what Frankfurt are going to ask for. So he's similar.
He's too similar to Wirtz for me. He's too similar.
Ekitike?
I think he kind of takes the similar positions. That's what I think anyway.
Yeah. I think Ekitike plays a lot. His radar is actually very similar, and I know both of you are gonna be sad about this too. What Darwin Nunez's radar was for last year when he was at Benfica. They very much start from the center, pull up to the left as well. And I think whoever they go for, like an Isak, or again, I keep mentioning his name because we have such a good connection to Leipzig, or Benjamin Šeško, someone who plays very much through the middle, through the central areas, is someone who I think they might be targeting. I mean, obviously Isak is the best one right now. That, again, like you mentioned, Sunday is such a big day for the Champions League, and we'll get a lot of clarity on who will be available.
Yeah, I agree. So, Gago, just wanted to call. This is how I thought this as well. Your comment about Jonathan David saying that he wouldn't play for or didn't like Klopp's Liverpool, but since his team got schooled by Liverpool, he kind of reversed his thoughts and kind of went back and praised Liverpool, particularly on that night as well. So
Also, I have some breaking news from Florian Plettenberg. He
Go
has
on.
given a handshake emoji check mark to
Oh,
Fabrizio Romano's tweet on Florian Wirtz. I think he did it 2-3 minutes ago. So it seems like the deal's potentially agreed. We're probably gonna get a here we go on the next
It's
20
Friday
minutes.
again. It's Saturday, Sunday. Let's go, people. I don't have confetti.
Last Friday night, yeah, we danced on tabletops and we took too many shots. Think we kissed, but I forgot. We have to find
It's
it.
Friday.
Yeah,
right,
Friday night, exactly. We have
guys.
to find it. We have to come
Yo.
up with a song with Florian Wirtz, Charlie. We have to come up with a song with Florian Wirtz. We're workshopping it here in live.
We will. We can ask ChatGPT. Mahmood, you know all about that. So, right, guys, we really want to just wrap it up because we probably could keep on talking, and with all the news that's coming out and the stuff that we want to read up, we could just be here until very, very early hours. But I have a 21-month-old who's sleeping, and he probably does still want to wake up at 6:30 in the very, very early hours. So we're gonna close it up. We're gonna say there's going to be a lot more information that's going to be coming out. I would say we probably will be looking to sign in before the international break, and I think England, and I'm just thinking about England, but the England play on the 7th of June, so we've probably got 2 weeks to try to look out to make this signing, probably even sooner than that. Jay Muse has just asked one last question then. Who's next? Mahmood, who is next for Liverpool after Florian Wirtz comes in?
Kirkus.
Okay.
That's
Okay,
it.
right. That's an
We'll
easy
just say
answer because we already know that Kirkis is coming in. But if it's not Kirkis, who's the next one?
Who's the next one?
And don't say Frimpong because
No. There were rumors about signing another center back. I would say maybe Hato. That's it.
Yeah, that's a good chat. That's a good chat. I like that. Certainly as a Dean Howson alternative, and I think that's probably a good one. Dan, who do you think is going to be next?
Well, if it's not Kirkes, it'll definitely be a left back in general. I'm going to put my neck on the line and I'll say we'll sign a forward. And I think that forward will be the Slovenian 6'5" Leipzig striker and Benjamin Šeško. I think that's who they'll sign next.
I'm okay with that. I'm going to stay on the fence because I'm not going to say anyone. I'm going to say good night to everybody. Thank you for joining us. Really, really good to get good half an hour just talking about Liverpool. It's been a long time since we've been on this channel. We want to get back to our old levels, just as what Jay's kind of mentioned in the chat. Thank you for everyone that's joined us on the chats. People watching, thank you for joining us there. A lot of old faces. Mahmood, a new face that's coming in. He's talking some really, really good things about Liverpool. Dan, an old face that's always here. Mr. Positive, not Buzzkill. We're here to talk of really, really good things about Liverpool. My name is Charlie. I'm joined by Dan. I'm joined by Mahmood. Thank you, gents. We will see you soon. Up the Florian Wirtz Reds. Good night.
Bye, people.